administration's hand. Suing over the catch and release policy the Sunshine State argues is a violation of federal law. So let's bring in Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody to talk about the lawsuit and more. General, good to have you back with us.
Great to be with you. Thanks.
Okay, so reaction there has not been kind to not only this lawsuit, but other policies and executive orders the governor has put into place with regard to immigration. The AP, talking about this, cites this. Democratic State Rep Anna Escamani criticized DeSantis, saying he's using the immigration issue to score political points with his conservative base instead of focusing on other issues facing the state. Quote, he's completely bonkers and just wants to distract everyday people from real life issues. What do you say the lawsuit's about? How do you respond to that criticism?
Well, first of all, what can they say? I mean, this is unprecedented lack of leadership, direction, control of our border. It's a strategic failure. And, I can tell you this is not just a Republican issue. There are Democrats that are incensed, astounded, cannot believe Biden's absence of leadership as it comes to immigration. The minute he took office, he started decimating policies that were put in place that were actually working and controlling the border. So, for example, in the last full month of the previous administration, only 17 folks were detained or released into the interior. We're now seeing tens of thousands every month released into our interior in complete violation of federal law. Governor DeSantis and I actually went to the border, which is, this president has never done, and we saw what was going on. And our folks there on the ground said that the majority of those coming over told them they were headed to Florida. And we saw the cost, the astronomical cost that this was going to have on our state. So we had to take action.
You mentioned some of what has been said about what's going on at the border, some of the policies that have changed between the Trump administration and now. But Secretary Mayorkas, DHS Secretary, actually says those changes have been a positive. Here is what he says about changing old policy and under this administration.
The Biden-Harris administration has indeed rescinded the immoral, unethical, and cruel policies, and we are rebuilding a system that has been entirely dismantled by the prior administration.
So how do you respond to that? I mean, he says what was in place before was cruel and inhumane, so they admit, yes, they have changed a lot of the policies.
The policies that were in place were put there to avoid the human cost that the lack of leadership and control was having. It's not just a human cost to those that are making the very dangerous crossing into the United States. It's also going to be a cost as we're seeing more and more folks being detained and those that are not being detained coming in with criminal convictions. So our communities are going to start feeling this in their security, their safety. I can tell you firsthand of folks that have had their lives upended because of folks here that shouldn't have been here and were committing crimes. Florida is going to spend $100 million just in incarcerating those here illegally that are committing crimes in Florida. And that's why DeSantis and I had to take action. And we look forward to arguing our case in court.
So you mentioned it, and we've talked to a lot of folks in Texas who are Democrats down there, elected officials who say we are desperately asking the Biden administration for help. These are local people. These are members of the U.S. Congress. Do you have Democrats there in Florida who are willing to help you or join you in some of these requests to the federal government or even in some of these challenges to the federal government?
One of the most shocking things we saw initially, right when Biden took office, they started canceling detainers of those in our jails across the state that had committed crimes and telling sheriffs to release them back into the communities. I can tell you I have sheriffs across the state of Florida that want to work with Governor DeSantis and myself in making sure our communities are safe. We've instructed them to continue working with law enforcement, detain folks, ask that those folks be picked up in accordance with law. Our problem is the federal government has limited our ability, the state's ability to do much as it comes to immigration. They say, we've got it, we'll take it, we're the ones with the legal authority, and then they drop the ball and do nothing. So we have to fight back in court. It's the right thing to do to protect our borders, to protect our country, and to protect our communities across the nation.
Yeah, we know any real solutions, any long-term solutions are going to require people across party lines and across the aisle from each other to get together and figure these things out. In the meantime, we'll track your legal actions as well. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Shannon.